Hamjambo. I am delighted to join the graduates, their families and friends, as well as the Kenya Forest Service Law Enforcement Academy community, as you celebrate this important milestone in the careers of the graduates. The history of this academy, the sustainability of the forest sector and conservation movement, as well as our country's journey to the fulfillment of our collective determination to sustain the environment for the benefit of present and future generations. This occasion, therefore, positions the graduating class, together with the Kenya Forest Service in its entirety and the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change, as the focal point of a critical constitutional mandate with existential implications not only for us in Kenya, but for humanity in its entirety. Article 42 of the Constitution recognizes every person's right to a clean and healthy environment, which includes the right to have the environment protected for the benefits of the present and future generations, and to have obligations relating to environment fulfilled under Article 70. Article 69 sets out the state's obligations in respect of the environment, which include ensuring the sustainable management and conservation of the environment and natural resources, achieving and maintaining tree cover at least 10% of the national land area, and eliminating those processes and activities likely to endanger the environment. Our National Development Blueprint, the Kenya National Vision 2030, makes a clean and secure environment a necessary component of our development agenda. Moreover, the bottom-up economic transformation agenda commits us to implement the constitutional tree cover mandate together with the strategies to achieve mitigation, adaptation, and resilience in response to the impacts of climate change as part of a broader program to fulfill our commitment to reduce emissions by 32% by 2030. More than 2/3 of our landmass is arid and semi-arid rangelands. As a result of climate change, extreme weather, including prolonged and severe drought as well as flooding, have caused unprecedented levels of devastation through famine, loss of livelihoods, dried crops, and dead animals, both livestock and, for the first time, wild game. Our increased vulnerability to extreme weather and climate conditions is a consequence of negligent and dangerous human activity, such as the wanton destruction of forests, indiscriminate felling of trees, and clearing of vegetation, unsustainable land use practices, and the reckless encroachment of riparian and wetland ecosystems. Climate change itself, caused by global warming as a result of dangerous accumulation of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, is driven by industrial emissions and pollution and the systematic compromising of the Earth's capacity to sequester carbon and the atmosphere using its natural lungs, which are our forests. Kenya is a strong champion of climate action with a track record of Pan-African and global leadership and participation in such frameworks, programs, and initiatives as the Conference of Parties to the United Nations Framework on Convention on Climate Change, the Paris Summit, and most recently, the first ever Africa Climate Summit. We are also the home of the United Nations Environmental Program, UNEP, and have a long history of effective climate and environmental multilateral diplomacy. Our commitments with regard to climate action are therefore fundamental to our development agenda and critical to our national interest. The protection of biodiversity is a constitutional obligation of the state that touches on fundamental rights of present and future generations of all our citizens. Our tree cover and forests sit at the heart of this commitment, both in terms of protection and conservation, and also with respect to enhancement and protection of all our environmental assets. I find it important to share this context with you, and especially with the graduates. If anyone told you, young people standing before me today, that your job is a routine occupation, they are very mistaken. You enter our national economic transformation equation as the people's trustees and guarantors of fundamental constitutional mandates and custodians of our forest value chain, which comprises critical resources and essential community assets. Our lives and livelihoods depend on the protection and sustenance of our biodiversity and the mitigation of climate change. You are therefore expected to be drivers of our national landscape and ecosystem restoration program and lead our organizations, communities, and especially the young people in making sure that our ambition to grow 15 billion trees by 2030 is actualized. Wacha nirudie kwa Kiswahili ili tuelewane. Tumekubaliana ya kwamba majukumu mnayoenda kuchukua kutoka leo sio majukumu ya ajira peke yake. Ni majukumu ya muhimu katika kuhakikisha ya kwamba matatizo ya kubadilika kwa hali ya mazingira yanashughulikiwa. Azma yetu kama taifa kupanda miche bilioni 15 inatimia, na vile vile tunapata nafasi kama taifa kutumia rasilimali zetu za misitu kuongeza nafasi za ajira na vile vile kuzalisha uchumi wa taifa letu la Kenya, kwa kuhakikisha ya kwamba rasilimali zetu za misitu inatumika katika kutengeneza furniture ya taifa letu la Kenya, na kuhakikisha ya kwamba vijana wetu wanajumuishwa katika nafasi za ajira, ikiwemo mpango wetu wa nyumba 200,000 kila mwaka. Tutahitaji rasilimali nyingi ambazo zitatumika kutoka misitu yetu. Mimi nataka niwaeleze ya kwamba kazi mnayochukua ni ya muhimu sana katika taifa letu la Kenya. And as the largest ever to graduate from this institution, you are aware of our firm commitment to develop adequate capacity to keep illegal logging, charcoal burning, and other forms of unlawful encroachment and interference with the integrity of our forests at bay. This commitment extends to training and equipping of personnel and investing in technology to improve operational capabilities in surveillance